in honor of celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here at Eisenhower High School. This is our first guest speaker that's coming today. We will have 3 speakers coming in this month. And the topic that the faculty, staff, and parents chose for us to present to you as a theme for these 3 series is community engagement, civic engagement, community service, volunteer responsibility. Right? Each of our speakers will have their own story, their own way to present this topic, but the theme is the same. What we really want you to grasp from this is to know that service and civic engagement starts, at your heart, right? And you don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be after high school to really start becoming a leader in your own thing, right? So our 3 speakers have 3 different backgrounds. Today's speaker is Ms. Lourdes Duarte, who is from WGN. And many of you know her background is communications and broadcasting. She's won 3 Emmys. She volunteers in a program called Dare to Dream, and she speaks at many schools and is a motivational speaker to many students in high schools. She studied communications from DePaul University, and so she's here to talk about her personal experience and give you some information, hopefully motivate you into the field of serving, right? And talk to you a little bit about how cool her job is, right? So we're going to let her speak to us for a little bit, and then we'll open up about 10 minutes at the end for some questions that you might have, all right? So once again, let's give it up for Ms. Lourdes Duarte.
So I've got 3 different classes in here, is that right? Yeah. And some of you are TV production. Is it this front group here?
No.
Some of you, okay, raise your hand. All right, broadcast. Very cool. I took a TV production class when I was in high school as well. And it was a lot of fun, but back then I didn't know I was going to get into TV. I just did it because I thought it would be a cool class to take, and it was. And we got to roam around the school and shoot stories and talk to some of the different students, and it is a blast. It can be a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work, and you put in a lot of hours. So if you don't love it, probably don't do it. If you don't like people, probably not a good idea that you get into news and reporting, because you will meet a lot of very interesting characters. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, who I am, where I came from. I think some of you guys watched some videos or something I did. What did you guys watch? Anything good? Let's hope it was a good story. Some interview? Okay. At high school? Okay. So, just to begin, where I came from and kind of how I got into TV. When I was in high school, I did take 1 TV production class just for fun. And my junior year of high school, I had a lot of really tough courses that year. So I wanted to take a really easy class. And we had this teacher named Mrs. Napier, who was notorious in the school for giving A's to pretty much everybody. So I needed an easy A, and I took a journalism class. And it turned out to be probably the best thing I ever did, because the first year became the business manager for the newspaper, and then the second year I became editor of the paper. So once I graduated high school, I realized that I wanted to do something with media or advertising, something along those lines, but really wasn't quite sure what, as I'm sure a lot of you, right? You know what you're good at, and you know what you like, but maybe you don't really have a good idea as to how to get there, or what it means, or what, job you could do with it. So when I went to college at DePaul, I started doing communications, and my plan was to do advertising and public relations. And was taking courses for that, and then I was working at a PR agency, and my boss said, well, if you're really interested in doing public relations, you should do an internship at a TV station. And I thought, heck yeah, I want to do that. That sounds fun. The revolution was going on, and communism, and had he gone back, he probably would have been jailed or killed. So he was able to stay here in the United States, met my mother, and had me. Kind of a cool story. Yeah. So that's a little bit about me. Born here in Chicago. Lived in South Florida for a few years. Lived in Puerto Rico for about 10 years. So I think for a lot of you, is English your second language for a lot of you? Yeah? Second? Okay. So I moved to Puerto Rico when I was 1. lived there until I was 11 years old and then came back to Chicago. So English is actually my second language. So I always tell that story just to show you that anything's possible. I mean, probably back then, had you asked me when I was 11, 12 years old and somebody had told me you're going to work in TV, speaking in English, I probably would have laughed at them and never thought that was possible. And so here I am. You know, it's not easy. Obviously, I have a little bit of an accent, and you guys probably hear it sometimes. Certain words are a little difficult for me to say. But you get through it, and you make the best of it, and, you know, here we are. And we'll see what comes down the road. So, if any of you are ELL students, I say go for it. Don't let that be a barrier, because I was certainly in the same situation as you were. Let's see what else. You know, we talked about service and volunteering and the importance of that. I try to speak at high schools, particularly high schools, a lot, because I think you get to have a little bit more of an impact. And it's something that's, I think, very special to try to volunteer and not only help people in your neighborhood and in your block, but to help one another. So if your friend asks for help here, try to do the best you can to help them out. There's this really awesome saying that says, volunteering is the price you pay for the space you occupy on Earth. So volunteering is the rent you pay for the space you occupy. And I think it's so true. It's a little bit of giving back, doing something for, you know, not only humankind, but each other. And that's what connects us. That's what I think makes all of us happy. We're all searching for connection in some strange way, whether it's through our family or friends or, you know, a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So if you get a chance to go out there and do something for your neighborhood and the people in it, I think it's a wonderful thing. So I hope you continue.